welcome back to Radio Works World. This is your authenticity host, Mareli Scott, and welcome to episode 6. And we're going to be talking about the authentic voice. And I would like to say hi to Marina again. She will be joining our conversation, and she's also the owner of this wonderful station we're talking on. And Marina, I know this is also a subject that's very close to your heart, so I'm very looking forward to today.
Wow, Marley, when you picked the topic, I thought, oh my God, somebody's answering my prayers. It must be the universe. So it is my favorite topic, and it is simply because it's the voice that is telling you who you are. And that voice is so powerful. And there is nothing else between you and the voice. It's just the two of you. so the way you
Yes,
marry those two entities is how you create your message, is the gift you bring into the world, the new entity you let out, because it's buried inside otherwise. And imagine how the world would look like if you don't listen to your voice, to that voice, if you allow other people's voices to take over and decide what you want to listen to. And your last episode, Authentic Listening, it is a stepping stone for our listeners, because you shared from the heart, and it is your experience that you are sharing. It's not something you can Google. It's not something that people can read somewhere else, because it's all you, Mareli, the
yes,
authentic you. So learning to voice what you have in your heart, your message, I think it's almost a moral duty, because it is
yes.
sinful not to. Over to you, Mareli.
Wow, that's so very true. And and especially because I'm the authentic host, so I have a big responsibility, to also do what I talk about and what I help other people to do. So, um, one of the before I start, some of the aspects of authenticity also include to be vulnerable and to be transparent. So, I want to start with that today. You know, for a few years, or a lot of years, I've been like many of us and many of you listening. I've been walking around with a story and a message in my heart. I didn't always listen to it, but it got louder. But I always used to, I think, like many of you listening. But why would anybody want to hear that? Why would it make a difference in their lives? And you don't need to be heard. Everybody doesn't need to be heard. All those voices going in my head, and I was still in my box and to myself. And slowly, as I expanded my comfort zone, I started to share my message and my story with a few people, but really just close friends. And the reaction was good, but I was so focused on what is my what do they think of it? Do they think it's interesting? And which it was totally it shouldn't be the focus. It was totally misdirected. And then yeah, I started to push myself more. And then this year with Radio Works, Marina, you gave me the much needed push that I really needed to get my message out there. And I took the plunge and I dived. And I must say, it's amazing to be able to share my message with people around the world. And it's not to be, no, it's not to get the recognition or to become well known, or it's not about that. It's about it really brings freedom once you take that plunge and you push yourself and you share your message with the world, because like you said, it's a responsibility, and things we go through in our lives shape our message, and we should use that. And as I started to share my story with people, the response I got was really, really overwhelming, actually. And it made me realize that my focus was totally wrong before this, when I kept it to myself, because our messages are not for ourselves, it's for other people. We are not, we were not created for ourselves. We were created and put on earth for others. We are supposed to help each other and inspire each other. And it just made me realize, and every time I share my story or my experience, it makes me realize more that people really, there are people that really are waiting and were waiting to hear my message. Um, and if we keep it to ourselves, how are we going to get it out there like we're supposed to? And then your focus totally shifts from um, trying to be popular and wondering how people are going to find your message. Your focus shifts to, how am I impacting other people? Am I influencing their lives? Am I making a difference? And um, I also believe if you follow a passion, then money will follow you as well. If you focus on the money, you'll always be looking for it. But if you listen to your heart and you do what you're supposed to do and get your message out there, I believe everything will fall into place, and it will chase you. And like I said, it brings a lot of freedom just to be able to share that. And it's also important for me to, I talked with a friend of mine that she visited South Africa. She's from Oslo, and she told me something that's very true. I haven't thought about. A lot of times we tend to compare our stories or what we've been through with other people's messages and stories, and I also did that for many years. I thought I haven't been through something that dramatic. There's people that have really been through a lot of things, and um, for example, if you listen to Anne Turner's story, our peace host on Radio Works World, it moves you. I mean, she's been through a war. You can't compare with that. But that friend of mine told me that um, it doesn't help comparing your story with anyone else's. What you go through is can be just as traumatic as what the other person went through, and sometimes things are allowed in our lives that we can handle. And like I also said in previous episodes, she just made me realize again, it doesn't make sense to compare your journey with someone else's, because we are all unique. We all have unique messages. We are all on unique journeys. And yeah, do you want to say something?
Yes, I'm listening to you, and I'm mesmerized by your message, because sometimes people are waiting till they get into their 60s or late 80s or whatever it is they're waiting for, I don't know, while the world is waiting on them. And it's the same way people go into the church and asking for God to help them. Well, God already gave them everything. What are you waiting on? I mean, if not now, when? And if people are afraid of sharing their story because they think now is not the right moment, and they're waiting for the perfect moment, well, it's very simply take this moment and make it perfect. You already got it all, and you don't know until you give it to the person who's supposed to receive your message, the beneficiary. It's like everybody got is created already, and you got all the talents and everything you need. And while you are thinking of what you don't have, guess what? Everything you got is going to a dark place, and gets locked in, and is a syndrome. You live with that syndrome for the rest of your life without realizing that actually that message you're given, whatever it is that you have to share, was given to you to share it, not to keep it, not to hold it. It's not your right. It's not your right. It's sinful not to share it. And because it wasn't for you, you got your message from somebody else. And you mentioned that you mentioned that you can't compare yourself with anybody else. And how can you compare yourself with anybody else? You are so different. If you look at the grass, you walk go into your garden and walk barefoot and sit on the grass and see there is no piece of grass that is identical with the other one. Each one, it's so different. I was looking at the rain falling on the flowers in the garden, and every single drop is different. I know it's rain. I know it's got this divine beauty, but it's different. And how can you compare yourself with somebody else? How can you? It doesn't make any sense. And when people are waiting for validation, thinking that let's see if somebody is going to like my post, why do you care? That's not your business. It's none of your business what other people think, because you have a divine mission to be you, to be yourself. And unless you decide to listen to that voice, which is there already, and unlock that, that's your power. And it's not about you. People are afraid of speaking up, and I'm thinking, why? This is not about you. Who cares? Who cares about you? You are just a messenger. And here at Radio W.O.R.K.S, Mareli, you are so right. We are the messengers of inner greatness. So each time you speak, you are not speaking for yourself, or it's not about me. It's about our listeners who, they need this message. They need to know their true worth. They need to understand their true worth. Because unless they do, they are going to struggle for the rest of their life, asking themselves, what if? What if I would listen to that voice in my head, in my heart, and I would give it to somebody? Just one person. Because if you could have one person in your life who benefited from your message, one person you help and says, thank you, Mareli, you changed my life, you changed the way I look at things. That means, that's the proof you need that you can share with millions. There is no there is no limit to how much you can give. It's wow, you are giving, and not worrying what other people think of your givings. I don't care if somebody likes my post or not. I don't care if somebody likes me or not. It's not about me. This is for that person who is that one person that is waiting on me.
Yes.
Over to you, Mareli.
Wow. So I hope everybody's listening. We still, keeping that message to themselves and, feeling scared to share it. I hope you're listening to this. And I want to ask you, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for someone to tell you to do it? Are you waiting for validation from someone? You have to decide for yourself. It's your message. And if you're going to wait for someone else to tell you to do it or to push you in that direction, you're going to be waiting forever. And you will always regret it if you don't do it. And you will always feel that there's something missing, some part of you are not sharing with the world, and you're hiding. And also, I've seen a lot of people that try to kind of copy someone else's message. If they see someone is successful with sharing their story or their passion, I've seen people that I think they see that it's working in some way, and they think, okay, this is a great trend. Maybe this is a good idea if I speak about this, or I go in this direction. But if you can't feel it with your heart, and you can't speak about it from your heart, it's not your message. Your message, you will feel in your heart. It will burn in your heart, and it will energize you. I mean, at this moment, I'm actually still sick, but I don't feel it because it's so much fun. It really energizes you if you can share your message that's in your heart and just get it out there, get it into the universe. Um, so yeah, listen to your inner voice. Don't look at what other people are doing. Focus on your own vision. Focus on your own voice and get it out there.
You see, Marley, you everything you are saying is so wise, and I'm thinking, oh my God, you are just a young lady, and you know so much. And imagine the world not listening to you. I imagine that you make a choice not to speak again, or you make a choice to lock in, and keep that message to, I don't know, become perfect or whatever it is that other people do. So imagine how much missed opportunities will be out there, because once you voice your message, you become the opportunity for other people. But in fact, they become the opportunity for others. And these other people who you'll never met and total strangers is the butterfly effect, is the ripple effect, is your energy, your vibrations, and it's unstoppable. You can't put something so beautiful as your message into a cage. It's impossible. It's your energy. And I know you weren't well, and I know you are making an effort in a way that other people perception would be like, oh, she's ill, why is she forcing herself to speak and put that energy? But actually, this is what is healing you. The
Yeah.
fact that you are giving is making more room for more beautiful energy to come out, and is growing, and all these seeds we are planting all the time, because we are farmers, but we get our hands dirty. We go and work with the soil and water it and put the nutrition the soil need to grow the seed into a beautiful plant, into a beautiful tree, and for the tree to bear fruits. So other people will feed themselves from those fruits and take the seeds. And so, like you said earlier, it's not about copying somebody. It's about knowing it's possible, knowing that nothing is impossible, knowing that you don't need to go to the moon and back to say, I've been to the moon, to see the moon.
Yeah.
There is no need for you to be somebody else and copy the story, or you have it. You already have it. You just don't see it right now, because all the time you worry about, oh, it's not the right moment, I don't have this, I don't have that, instead of being focused on what you already have. And you have this abundance of everything you need already. Each time that makes you blind, actually. Each time that you don't see who you are, because it's about you, but it's for the others. It's very strange how only working on yourself you could help the others. And
Yes.
you really have to get rid of all the situations and circumstances and people and emotions and even foods that they don't serve you for you to serve the world, because the best version of yourself is yet to come. You can't compare yourself with the others. That's ridiculous. You only could compare yourself with your yesterday version. I'm
Yes.
comparing myself with, this morning I woke up and I was so happy and I couldn't wait for the first show. And it was another show and another show. And sometimes, I don't get tired, because it's like, I don't know, I can't help it. And yet this gentleman came on the show, and he hosted the show, and he was sharing his story, how he had a car crash, and
Wow.
it was a 31 years old gentleman trapped into a 2 years old mind. He literally had to learn to write and
Wow.
imagine that he lost it all, only to reinvent himself against the diagnosis from the doctors and opinions and medical opinions. So he decided to write a book when everybody was telling him, qualified people were telling him that for the rest of his life he's going to live on painkillers and antidepressants, and he's not taking any. So he wrote his book, he's traveling the world, he's sharing his message, and to me, that is what
Wow.
was this man doing before that he had to got amnesia to reinvent his life, to reinvent himself.
Mm.
And each one of us is going through this crash at some moment or on another moment, or there are layers of moments that create you with this power to understand who you are and allow you to create and deliver the message. Because this gentleman, which is world famous and everybody knew him, I didn't know who he was, and I feel so humble. He came on our show and he's coming back, and wow, and he, you see, he was the same person before. He got it all. He got no reason not to voice his message, and yet he didn't. He did not deliver. So the universe created a set of circumstances from where he got nowhere else to go. He had to deliver, and he had to learn to write and start from ground zero.
Wow. And how many of us will do that?
You see, Mareli, like to me, like each hour, I'm thinking, oh my God, that's an hour ago is the old version of myself. You see?
Yes. Yeah.
And it's such a, it's a process, it's a life process. As if you see, I don't know, there are certain teas in China, I don't know if you've ever been to China, but they give you tea and they put the flower in the pot with boiling water, and the bunch of petals, whatever they are, they start flowering, in front of you, in front of your very eyes. And to me, this is the message. When unfolds and become this beautiful orchid, this amazing, extraordinary plant that is speaking to you. And how powerful is to see somebody else's power and allowing that to heal you, to mesmerize you. Where would you go from there? And I so agree with you, Mareli. Voicing your messages is this one thing that you cannot avoid. One way or the other, you'll be forced to do it. One way or the other, you'll do it because that's your mission. And they're saying that the grave place is the most expensive place because it's where everybody is burying their dreams, their big ideas, their vision.
It's so sad.
And sometimes people before they die, they carry that vision and they bury that vision first before they die. So I was in a garden today with a member of my family, and I was showing her this garden because it was built in the memory of a great writer. She was writing books for children, she was doing paintings, and anyway, so I was explaining that I'm going to buy her books for my grandchild, for my granddaughter, because they are the most beautiful books, even they're done 100 years ago. And the member of my family asked me, so what, they built this garden for her in her memory? I said, yes. And then she said, but she left something behind.
Wow.
And I start thinking again, what I'm leaving behind, but not, I don't want to leave behind later when I'm already on the other side. I have to leave my legacy, like exactly like you said. You said that I have to act and be the person I'm teaching about. So you are growing to this amazing person who can deliver the message. So it is inside job. It is a hard farming, and it is seasonal. Sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's full summer, sometimes it's the elements are getting in. So what?
Yeah.
It is a divine job, and it's not paid by the hour, but that's your legacy. This is what you
Yes.
leave behind. And leaving your legacy, I think, is the most powerful experience you could ever have. Over to you, Mareli.
Wow. Wow. It's so true. Sure. Thank you, Marina, for that inspirational message. Um, so if you're sitting and you're listening now and you're asking yourself, how do I find my authentic voice? How do I get my message out there? I want to give you just three simple things that you need um, in order to do that, to help you do that. So number one is you need a strong sense of identity. So you need to ask yourself, who am I and what is my message? It sounds very simple, um, but it's really important, and it's not that easy to answer actually, but it's very important for you to ask yourself that, and often, not just once, and to take some time, a quiet time, and ask yourself that. Number two is you need a vision for your message. So you need to ask yourself, where are you going, and what impact do you want to make? Because, like we said earlier, it's not about you. Your message are for other people. There are other people out there in the world waiting on your message who need it. So you need to create that vision. You need to see that, what impact do I want to make with my message? Where do I want to go with my message? And then number three is mastery of your skills or your platform. So first of all, you need to decide, how do you want to voice your message? Because we're not just talking about public speaking or motivational speaking. It can be in many, many, many forms. You can do that. You can do it um, like me here on Radio Works World, talk here, talk on the radio, host a program. Or it can be speaking, it can be through writing a book, it can be through teaching, life coaching. There are so many different ways that you can get your message out there. So you need to identify how you want to get it out there and what um, platforms are available for you to use um, and to make use of. And don't just go with these you feel comfortable with. You need to push yourself. Remember, this is something new that you're going to do. So you need to push yourself and try it and get your message out there. So for number three, you need to ask yourself, how will I get there? So that's the practical side of it. How am I going to get my message out there? Who do I know that I can talk to? You already know me, you know Marina, and this amazing platform. And see what you can do with your skills as well. We all have skills that we can use. See how you can put it to use.
Wow,
Yeah.
Mareli. Wow. You see, it's about celebrating your voice. It's about knowing that the world is not enough without you. From both of us, until next time, celebrate your voice. Goodbye.
Bye.